Hi, this is Zach May with the US stock highlights here on Share Talk for Monday, the 5th of April. Starting off with Aero where we're just approaching the intraday high of Thursday at $15.81. End of day close above that, and we're looking for a relatively straight move towards the top of a rising trend channel from December, as high as $28 as soon as the end of this month. If you're looking for a potential stop loss there, the initial March resistance at $13.64 on an end of day close basis could fit the bill, and is relatively tight, about as tight as you can get with the volatility that you can see on the daily chart of Aero at the moment. We were trading in the wake of that wonderful down gap reversal, the push there starting when the top of that gap down at $7.73 was closed above on Thursday, and we've obviously rocketed since then. Moving along to one of the meme stocks, and I think it's been in the news today as well, AMC Entertainment. Here we're looking at a situation where the shares have consolidated well after having that early March gap. The top of the gap actually at $8.31. We've had higher lows since. Also bouncing off the 50-day moving average at $8.90 last week. And the view is that at end-of-day close above Thursday's intraday resistance at $10.26 should be enough to give us a retest of the late March resistance there, that peak there at $14.54, well before the end of April. So above, let's call it $8.90, up to $14.50 plus for AMC. Entertainment is on the cards. Moving along to the pharma sector, here we've got Biopath Holdings, and situation here is that we're looking at a stock which gapped up higher today. What we'd like to see, though, is an end-of-day close back above the March resistance. That was at $7.80, so as long as we have an end-of-day close above that, we're looking not only for a retest of today's peak at $10.17, but at least a retest of February resistance towards $24 as soon as the end of May. But certainly for this month, $10 to $15 on the cards for this particular stock. Maybe May for the $24 area seems to be a reasonable destination, as long as we remain above $7.80. Moving along to another stock which is not quite so high profile, Chembio Diagnostics. Here we've got another situation where there's been solid gap to the upside, gap through the 200-day and the 50-day moving averages, the black and blue lines there respectively. And as long as we get an end-of-day close above the 50-day line today at $5.56, we're looking towards a retest of $8, which was February resistance, as soon as the end of this month. But a great bear trap reversal, bear trap gap reversal, in fact, does suggest that the shares should have pretty good mileage over the near term. This stage only really back below the 200-day line at $5.07, really questioning or delaying the upside scenario in the near term. Moving along to a stock which is looking pretty strong as well, Greenwich Life Sciences. Here we've had the aftermath of that December gap to the upside, lots of consolidation over the last 2 to 3 months, but it looks as though with the gap higher that we've got now above the 50-day moving average, we should head higher. Top of the bottom of the overnight gap, $35.60, and while we're above that, looking towards the top of the rising trend channel from December, as high as $73 by the end of May. If we're really lucky, it might be by the end of this month, but going forward the end of May at this stage. Stock which I recovered last week, and I'm pleased to say it's obeyed and behaved itself. Here we've got Kelly Services, which actually took out the Thursday peak at $57.46. A bit of a consolidation now, but at least while we're above today's opening level, $32.60, looking towards a retest not only of the $60 area, but also still gunning for an end of April target as high as $72 at the top of that rising 2020 trend channel from this time last year. So $70 plus by the end of this month, while we hold above $32, is the best call on Kelly Services at the moment. Another stock in the news, and one which is creating decent interest, is Leaf Group. Here we've got a situation where the shares are coming through with a rising trend channel from November. Bear trap rebound from below the 50-day moving average at $6.30. Above that, we're looking for the top of the rising trend channel from November as high as $11.20. That could be seen as soon as the end of this month. The upside valid while we hold above the bottom of the gap and Thursday's peak at $7.10. So let's see if we can get up to that $11 area by the end of the month while we hold the floor of that gap on Leaf Group. Stock which is never far away from the limelight, which is coming up now, Marathon Digital Holdings. Here we've had a nice break to new highs, looking towards that top of that July rising trend channel. Target there implied is $62, and that's valid while there's no end-of-day close back below Thursday's intraday peak at $51.76. In fact, we're probably looking for much more over the next month or two. Possible target here, best case scenario target at the moment, up towards $86, which is a December resistance line projection. But let's get to $62 first before we get too carried away with a potential 2 to 3 month target around $86. Stock which seemed to be rather obscure when it was first looked at here, but has by its wonderful rally managed to prove itself. Takung Art. Here we've got a rising trend channel after the massive move to the upside. This looks like a mid-move consolidation. While we're above today's intraday floor at $33.84, looking towards the top of that rising trend channel from last month as high as $88, and that could be seen as soon as the end of May for Takung Art. Just 3 stocks to go now. First one coming up, and it's Target Hospitality Corporation. Here you can see that we've got a nice an extended basing here, which is always good. Good bull flag here above former resistance there, that neckline resistance from March, $2.09. And while we're above that, $2.09, looking towards the top of a rising trend channel from June last year, as high as $3.70 as soon as the end of this month. A couple of stocks to go now. Another riser today, which has perked up quite well, is coming through. Vivos Therapeutics, a nice gap to the upside, and while we're above the floor of the gap and Thursday's intraday peak at $7.89, looking towards the $10.50 area, which is the top of a rising December trend channel. So while we're above that old peak from Thursday, looking pretty bullish, and probably one would say that $10 plus is the minimum we're looking for on the upside at the moment, given the gap that we've had so far in this session. Finishing off with a stock which is not too familiar yet, but might become more frequent, hopefully, over the coming days and weeks. XL Brands, great gap to the upside here for the shares, which effectively completes an island reversal. We had a gap down in February, bear trap below the 50-day line. And the view now is that at least while we're above that old peak from the middle of March at $2.19, we're looking for significant upside here, not only just retesting today's $4 plus peak, but as high as $5.60 by the end of May, and perhaps even sooner, the way things are going with the gap that we've had to the upside on XL Brands. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.